operate the elements of the International Space Station. If you look towards the white modules of the International Space Station, you're going to see one that is labeled Zarya. It is the one that has all those colorful patches on it. We're going to be looking at the capsule that's actually in front of that. It's that grayish-greenish craft that kind of looks like a peanut. That is the Russian Soyuz capsule. As we talked about as we were leaving our last stop, there's different entities that make up the term international, talking about this program. Since about the year 2011, with the retirement of the Space Shuttle program, the Soyuz capsule has actually been the main method of getting to and from the International Space Station. Now, as I said, this is a Russian spacecraft. It launches from Kazakhstan, which is just south of Russia. Can fit about 3 astronauts, and they launch from there, and they also land from there as well. Now, Kazakhstan is a landlocked nation, so you're probably asking, well, if it's a capsule, how does it land in the water? And the simple answer to that, it doesn't. This capsule is unlike any other capsule system before it because it actually lands directly on land. The way it does this is as a series of parachutes, retro boosters, and custom-fitted seat liners to ensure it's a tight and comfortable landing. Now, another bonus about having these custom-fitted seat liners is not only does it ensure you're comfortable during landing, it also ensures that no one can steal your seat on this capsule as well because the seat is directly tailored to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to take pictures of this stop as we move down to our second stop. At our second stop, we're going to be talking about some of the current things we're working on here at NASA, along with the International Space Station, as well as some of the different Orion program projects we have ongoing right now.
Cool. Forward. This is awesome, yo. Yo, I can't believe I'm looking at all of this. No, it's a government employee. Authorized personnel only, yeah. States module. Look at all this stuff. That is so surreal. Still going. We're still going. Keep going. Person? You mean government employee? Then yeah. There's so many things here. That is awesome, yo. Just look at that. Look at all these screens, this amazing technology. Hours and hours of design, sweat, tears. Years. I don't even know what that is. What is that? That is not a rover. That is something.
That is a rover.
It don't look like a rover. It looks like some.
See the 2 hatches on the back? 2 suits go on there, and you can climb.
I'm looking at that thing.
Did you know?
Oh.
You know the helmet on astronaut? Did you see?
Yeah, I know the helmet's on it.
It has a thin layer of gold.
Ah. Ooh, blue lights. Blue lights. Blue lights. We are moving, it's just people aren't moving. Look at that bug thing.
Look at that robot.
I want to see that thing crawling up to me.
We are going to be getting just a few short seconds, so please make your way down.
Look at this thing.
What is that thing?
It's a robot they're working on.
A massive Valkyrie.
For the second stop, we're going to kind of start halfway in the middle of the facility. We're going to work our way down. So I want everyone to turn their attention, please, to that blue H-like structure. We're going to be talking about the capsule that's actually situated to the right of that. Underneath that framing over there, it has the words Orion on top of it. This is the Orion capsule. Now, as I talked about earlier, Orion is our next generation of space fleet NASA is working on to get 4 astronauts back to our moon and then one day farther than anyone has ever traveled before, all the way to Mars. We've actually scheduled the first test launch of the Orion capsule with its counterpart, the SLS, or the Space Launch System, which will then be the most tallest, powerful, and heaviest rocket ever built. This has to get us all the way to Mars. That's scheduled for 2020 with Exploration Mission 1. Now, before we go to Mars, we do have to work out a lot of health issues and technical issues that we have. For example, that problem where we lose 2% of our bone density and muscle mass, that is something we are working on fixing or counteracting. It mimics the disease we have here on Earth, which is called osteoporosis, which is basically thinning of your bone density. So we're working on actually trying to find a cure to osteoporosis on the International Space Station. So if we can find a cure for that, hopefully we can counteract this issue on our Mars missions. But the benefit of that is if we can figure that out on the station, we can use it down here on Earth. The motto on the International Space Station is off the Earth, for the Earth. That's why we research other diseases on there as well, such as Parkinson's, diabetes, and cancer. All of that is to help us on this Orion program as well. Of course, radiation is a big issue when you're in space because we don't have the protection that our atmosphere provides us while we're on Mars. So we want to make sure our astronauts are safe from all long-term health effects while they're on their mission. The capsule that's in front of that, underneath those blue staircases over there, that is called the CST-100, also known as the Boeing Starliner capsule. Now, Boeing Starliner is a part of a program we have here at NASA called the Commercial Crew Program. We've actually selected 2 companies to carry our astronauts to and from the International Space Station, once again from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, starting next year. That other company I'm pretty sure you may have heard of is called SpaceX. Hopefully they'll be ready to use in the spring, ending the sole reliance on the Soyuz capsule, making these another method we can get to and from the space station.
Someone enjoys video games, I can say that much.
Now, another thing we have in this facility that's related to the Orion program, if you're closer to me in the very front of the group, if you look towards the very back wall over here, we're going to be looking at this pickup truck-like vehicle that has an American flag on the back of it. If you're towards the very back of the group and you can't see this, if you look directly below you or to the left of the Starliner capsule, you're going to see a very similar vehicle. This is called an SUV, or a space exploration vehicle. These vehicles are capable of holding 2 astronauts for up to 14 days with sleeping and sanitary facilities. It's also capable of doing a 360-degree turn with a 0 turn degree radius, meaning if you're really bad at parallel parking like I can be sometimes, these things are going to be your best friends. Now, the downside to all of this is that it only goes a whopping 6 miles per hour. Wow. Another cool feature that this vehicle has is if you look towards the back of the one that's closest to me, you're going to see actually that there's a spacesuit attached to this. If you're towards the back of the group and you're looking at the one below you, you're going to see kind of like an indent in the very back of the vehicle with an American flag on it. Now, this is called a suit port. The reason we've designed this suit port is to counteract one of the problems we're facing with the Orion program, which is radiation and other hazardous materials that will be experienced. One of the things we learned during the Apollo program is that when you go out with your spacesuit on and you collect samples and you do your moonwalk and you come back in, you bring your sample back with you, but you also bring more samples in with you in the hence that they're stuck to your space boots. Now, you may be asking, well, how does it stick to you if there's no gravity? It kind of acts like pollen almost. Dirt on the moon is not like dirt that's here on Earth. It's almost like tiny shards of glass that kind of stick to your clothing. That's very hazardous to our astronauts. The moon is not protected like Earth is from ultraviolet radiation from the sun, so it is carrying a lot of cosmic radiation on it. And like I said, this is like small glass, so that is very dangerous to inhale with your lungs. No one's ever been to Mars before. We don't know what the Martian soil is like, so we want to make sure that we're protected at all costs with this information we have in mind from the moon landings. We've designed this suit port for that reason. This makes sure that the only thing that gets back into your capsule is the samples that you want to. The suit stays outside of the capsule or the habitat at all times with the suit port. If you want to go on a spacewalk, what you do is you simply climb in through the hatch, get into your suit, detach, do your walk, collect your samples if you're getting any, put your samples in a special bin that's taken back inside of your habitat or the vehicle, attach yourself to the back of the vehicle, pressurize it, climb back through, your spacesuit stays outside and none of that material comes back inside with you. The benefit of this as well is that it takes approximately 2 hours right now on the International Space Station to put on a spacesuit. This in the long run. Now, another thing that we have throughout this facility as well is robotics. In fact, we have a robot over here that's closer to me. This blue steel frame. It's all the way over here. Now, this robot is named Robonaut. Robonaut, we have one on the International Space Station at this time. This is another version of it that we're working on right now. Robonauts were created to help our astronauts maintain and repair parts on the International Space Station. Robonauts are equipped with 2 hands, each with 5 fingers that are so accurate he can turn the single page of a book without ripping it. He can utilize touchscreen devices without using autocorrect, something I'm sure most of us have trouble with at times. And he can also use a standard set of tools that are designed for humans as well, such as a powered screwdriver. Yeah. Another cool thing about Robonaut as well is that it also has sensors in its hands, so if you were to give it a very firm handshake, he can actually replicate the same handshake you gave him back to you as well.
Now, as I said, robonauts were made to help our astronauts maintain and repair parts on the International Space Station. Along with all that scientific research we're doing to prepare us for Orion and better humans, we're also having to repair and maintain parts on the station. Of robonaut in front of it, in this other cage over here, you're going to see Valkyrie. Now, Valkyrie is a 6'2" humanoid robot that was made using the kind of design techniques that we learned with the robonaut. Now, Valkyrie is meant for here on Earth. You may notice that the legs on these two robots look differently. Valkyrie kind of looks more like human legs. Its goal with the Valkyrie is actually disaster relief, so it can enter disaster zones and help our first responders alleviate their jobs and kind of just, well, not alleviate their jobs, but help them out getting to areas that may not be accessible to humans, but a robot could probably do better. It has the same thing. It has 2 hands, each with 5 fingers, but you can also interchange these with different tools as well that may be able to help out in certain situations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this does unfortunately end our tour of the astronaut training facility. We're going to be exiting out these doors on our left in just a few moments. Once we get to the bottom of the staircase, please make sure to return to the exact same seat on the tram that you were seated in when we arrived here. If you do have any questions, once again, about anything we may have missed while in this facility, or anything about NASA, I'll gladly answer those at the bottom of the staircase to the best of my ability. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today at the astronaut training facility.